Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back after lunch. And I hope you were able to enjoy your lunch and all are energized yourself to enjoy the second half of this great conference. And here I am, Shuchona, and I'm really feeling honored to be a part of this great event. I would like to welcome our moderator, keynote speaker, and the chair of this next session. But before that, I want to share you with all that the topic of our next plenary session, it will be on sanitation, financing, and private sector engagement. I would like to welcome our moderator, Ms. Ishrat Shabnam from Practical Action. I would like to request A.K.M. Tariquel, Managing Director, Additional Secretary of Bangladesh Municipal Development Fund, BMDF. And I would like to request our keynote speakers to enlighten you on this topic. Firstly, I would like to request Ms. Antoinette Kome, Head of Global Water Sector, SNV, and secondly, Ms. Anandita Kakkar, Marketing Leader, Asia SATO, to come up and take their seat on stage. Please give a bit of applause for our keynote speakers, chair, and the moderator of this next plenary session. I would like to request our moderator, Ms. Ishrat Shabnam, to take the microphone.
Hello and a very good afternoon to everyone. In some of our presentations and plenaries we have attended so far, what has been revealed is safely managed sanitation is a much urged topic for having a safer planet. Then comes the point of financing. It has also been revealed by a data of National Wash Alliance that still for safely managed sanitation, self-supply is the major source. It remains to be the major source of financing, as good as 81% from the household level. Government has a role here. Also, we talk about infrastructure. There is a need to address the catastrophic expenditure. At the same time, we also know that sanitation financing can be incomplete without a strong engagement from the private sector. Getting back to the theme, the theme of today, sanitation financing and private sector engagement, we will be having two keynote presentations today. But before handing over to our keynote presenters, I would like to introduce myself. I am Ishrat Shabnam, Country Director from Practical Action, a civil engineer and an MBA. Half of my career I have passed with the government of Bangladesh, and then I made an informed choice to join the development sector, to join hands with the development professionals towards a better planet for the people. So coming back to the keynote presentations, I would not do further delay. I would like to invite the first keynote presenter, Ms. Anandita Kakkar, who is the leader, Marketing Asia at SATO, which is a part of LIGSIL. With nearly 2 decades of expertise in marketing, communications, and strategy, Anandita serves as the leader of marketing for Asia at SATO. She has been working towards advancing sanitation standards in Asia through strategic storytelling, impactful external communications, and global collaboration. SATO drives a mission to improve lives, and her steadfast commitment to enhancing sanitation contributes to initiatives across the region. With a passion for making a difference, she continues to foster partnerships and engage the private sector to further innovate in the field of sanitation. Ms. Anandita, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Very good afternoon. Before I present myself again, just a few notes that I have, which is the world is looking to 2030 to achieve safe sanitation and hygiene. And although a lot has been done, and we're all proof sitting here today, it's okay, it's fine. There's still a lot to be done. And just even in Bangladesh, from some notes we have is that 38% are still lacking as of 2022 access to improved sanitation facilities. 22% of the schools lack basic sanitation services. Significant portion of Bangladesh population still relies on pit latrines. And because of these inadequate sanitation and hygiene costs, Bangladesh has spent more than 4.23 billion, equivalent to 6.3% of the GDP, because of these sanitation gaps. Sorry on that negative note, but good afternoon and welcome. I would like to thank everyone here to give me this opportunity to talk about the innovation products that we do and the private sector. I'm Anandita, I'm the leader for marketing, and I'm proudly representing the private sector today through SATO, part of LIXIL. Oh, sorry, okay, that's on me. So yes, it's the innovation to drive sustainable change. I've just gone through that. So the need we have right now is for bold and innovative action. SATO, part of LIXIL, we're a brand which has over a decade as a social business and as a part of LIXIL. At SATO, our purpose is to empower everyone in the world to live a better life every day and to enjoy a brighter future through innovative sanitation and hygiene solutions. We are a part of LIXIL, and with LIXIL, we promise to make better homes a reality for everyone, everywhere. 1 billion people use our products every day in their homes and their offices. We have been a part through our SDG 6, the LIXIL's commitment is to make sustainable in form of water conservation, healthier society, and a range of products that are easy to use, maintain, and are accessible. And we work strategically with the products and the sales chain. This is our purpose, to empower people everywhere to live a better life every day and enjoy a brighter future. And our aim is to reach 100 million people by 2025. This is how the products are. We start right at the basic. We try to get to the people who need the access. And from our toilet systems to our taps, we design, produce, and deliver products to the people who need it the most. This is our journey so far. We started in this country, in Bangladesh, in 2013, and nearly 12 years. We were just at a tap, and today, as we were just on SATO Pan, and today we have a complete range of products that can create the toilet of, for everyone who needs it. This is our impact and our expanded portfolio. So, getting into the sector of why the expanded portfolio, we have worked with partners across the globe to understand what the needs are. Starting from just one pan, as the countries have grown, as the people have grown, we have aspirational. There is a lot more aspiration which is required. So we have continued to invest in consumer-centric innovation and expand our portfolio. There is, you can see our products outside at our booth. Please do come visit. It's at the RFL booth. We've created an easier and more effective way to make sustainable sanitation, which has been one of the key points of discussion here today, and which is through our V-Trap, twin pit system, easy to manage and easy to use. In the response of the COVID pandemic, we took steps to enter the hygiene space, and we created SATO Pan, which is a hand washing station which does not require any running water. Our SATO stool, with its raised seats, creates option based on consumer preferences and improves the experience of children, elderly, disabled, pregnant women, so giving you the option of a better toilet experience. The SATO Pit Liner is an easy-to-install interlocking liner made of durable material that reinforces the walls of a pit for a more effective waste containment, which is particularly impactful in humanitarian settings. It offers a new alternative to traditional brick-lined pits while minimizing the risk of a pit collapsing and contaminating groundwater. We also launched the SATO Superstructure, which is made from EcoRenew, a material made from 100% recycled polystyrene, thus supporting environmentally responsible sanitation solutions. Its modular designs makes toilet construction quicker and more accessible, especially in underserved areas like emergency settings. Our full range of products now meets the needs of nearly every household and can solve the sanitation challenges faced in schools and healthcare facilities as well as humanitarian contexts. Increasing access to affordable sanitation in non-household settings has been and will be at the heart of our focus for the coming period. And just a quick slide on the reasons why we should all love SATO. Sorry, is this video not, will we not be able to run the video? No? Okay. I will try and run it later then. Okay. So there were just a few reasons why you can love SATO, and we have the reasons at our booth, so I hope all of you can also come and see. But one of them are, of course, we have odor-free toilets, 100% odor-free because of the physical barrier. They're water-saving. Every pan, every trapdoor technology that we have, it saves up to 80% per flush. There is right next to it. I don't know if the rest of the videos will work too, but let me see. Yeah, sorry, they're not working. Just going back. So it does minimize odor, and the products, our products are actually odor-free. So we have personally gone and used them in various parts of the world, not just in India, and we've seen that they actually are odor-free. There are toilets which are right next to the kitchen, and they're still odor-free. They save water. The SATO toilets use 80% less water per flush. And like I said, they're suitable for household, school, workplace, and community toilets. And the trapdoor mechanism, which I hope you can come and see at our booth, it has been tested for the equivalent of 100 years of use. So they are sustainable and durable. We have a slab which can be used with our various SATO toilets. And this is a quick self-supporting construction. And it comes with the SATO pan. And it's easy to install, especially in humanitarian areas where you need humanitarian response, where you need immediate action and cannot wait for the concrete to dry, etc. And like I spoke about the superstructure, it's innovative recycled plastic, and it can be delivered in a flat pack. So it is not it has to be set up on site, which makes it much easier and much manageable to transport. So, coming to our partnership. What is our market-based approach? We develop the products, and with our partners, some like RFL in Bangladesh, we establish a supply chain, and they supply the products to where the consumer wants it. Our main role is to develop these products and meet the consumer where they need and want. As a private sector, we are uniquely positioned to leverage both supply and demand to create strong supply chains that not only deliver life-changing, enhancing sanitation and hygiene products to consumers, but also foster an ecosystem for local entrepreneurs. These entrepreneurs, masons, plumbers, retailers, build sustainable careers in the rapidly growing sanitation sector while influencing decisions related to sanitation and hygiene within their communities. We did have a few examples for that, but again, I think the videos are not working. But just a few examples. The one right at the bottom is Kulsuma Begum, who is from Bangladesh, and through a partnership, she is now a sales agent for sanitation, for SATO sanitation in Bangladesh. And we also have, this is from India, which is where we have a mason who has been using the SATO product for nearly 7 years. And he has built, from just a mason, he has built his own retail chain because he could see how the community has been helped. So this is just a few examples of how we could do. And having said that, no one can do this alone. Distribution and supply chain coordination to the last mile consumers in rural and peri-urban areas is far from being an easy task, and we need more collaboration to ensure affordability and accessibility. There are many layers to it, and we need to act together. It starts with tariffs and trade policy. We need regulation on quality and IP protections, especially given the risk of counterfeits. In order to achieve this, we work with partners such as UNICEF, ID, and BRAC to influence government and public policies. High-level government commitment and leadership to meeting targets and generating demand is fundamental to create markets. A robust supply chain requires demand to be established and work well. Demand is the engine that drives improvements in sanitation, but in some markets, consumers are unaware of the benefits of investing in new toilets or taps. We work closely with partners to build strategies that reach customers where they are and educate them on available solutions. We need more focus on sustainability. External funders are coordinating with efforts and moving from project to programmatic approach. We want to be a part of that conversation. And a few examples of what we've done is our mass partnership, which we will share in the next slide, and which has generated lessons on doing this at scale. How can we work with partners on scale? With mass partnership, which is an equal value, with UNICEF, it's an equal value partnership, and the need to address supply, demand, and monitoring together with government leadership. For SATO, our partnership is at the heart of our business model, and Bangladesh is one of the largest examples of that. We are truly grateful to the partnership with RFL, with ID, with UNICEF, with DRAC, and the government bodies who have supported all our work in the last 11 years that we have been here. All of these partnerships has led Bangladesh to be our first and largest thriving market and is over half of our global impact till date. It has improved the lives of nearly 25 million people since 2013. In conclusion, by focusing on the essential pillars, insights, supply chains, demand, and capacity building, SATO is not simply offering products, we are actively shaping the future of sustainable, scalable sanitation solutions. It's not just about technology, it's about the strong commitment from the government, the collaboration between private and civil society, and empower communities who recognize the value of safe sanitation and hygiene. So let's work together, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Anandita. I take your last note that it's not only about the tools or innovation, but it's about a joint responsibility on part of development partners, private sector, as well as the government. With that note, I would like to invite our next keynote presenter on stage, Ms. Antoinette Kome. Antoinette Kome is SNB's head of global water sector, a senior expert in water resource management, watershed management, and water supply and sanitation. Kome leads SNB's WASH programs across 26 countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. She will be presenting on the topic of sanitation financing, what is fair and what is sustainable. Over to you, Ms. Kome. Fixes the presentation. I think we are good to go. Thank you.
So the computer just stopped because it was out of brain capacity. I'm just hoping that I'm catching you at the end of the day and you still have that little bit of brain capacity to listen to me about this presentation on sanitation financing, private sector engagement, and what is fair and sustainable. I want to start by saying that, of course, sanitation is a human right, and of course, governments are the duty bearers for that human right. It means that governments very often see sanitation as a social service which should not make profit. Maybe we don't want to see the big profits that Elon Musk is making with some of his entities, but we do need sanitation services to generate revenue in order to be financially healthy. Of course, we want to do that in a way that it is fair, distributing the cost, and in a way that it is sustainable. So we're in a sanitation conference. I should hope that everybody knows this, but just to make sure, sanitation is about separating human excreta from human contact. That's the essence of what we want to achieve. Now, it means we need to see an entire sanitation service chain to be functional and sustainable. It starts with the user interface and the containment, as Aminata was talking about, but then we also need to see the rest of the service chain, be it on-site sanitation, be it sewer, be it any other form of sanitation, We need to see that functional in a sustainable way. And if we think about an area and we want to leave no one behind, it means there are multiple service chains and also multiple service providers busy in that space. They can be public and they can be private. But what do we know about the financial health of those sanitation services in the area? In theory, if life cycle costs for the entire, for all the service chains are covered, then they would be financially healthy. So when I speak of life cycle cost, and this is work we've done with ISF more than 10 years ago, we talk about the initial investment, which may be quite big and lumpy. Then we have the money required for regular day-to-day operations. We have some intermittent maintenance when something goes wrong, and the money to rehabilitate or replace that infrastructure. And maybe if we haven't done such a very good job on maintaining it, that may be much bigger than we expected. It may also be bigger because we're now facing population growth, we're facing climate. So where are we covering that life cycle cost from? So in theory, we're covering the life cycle cost through tariffs, payment by users, taxes, contributions from all kinds of domestic taxes, and transfers, which may be from donors or charity, but also in a federal system, for example, from the federal government to local government. In practice, this often looks like this, or even there's no revenues coming and only tariff. There are people who now think we're going to solve this by reuse, so that the revenue generated from the reuse, may it be co-compost, may it be briquettes, may it be any other product, that's going to save the day. It's important to work on circularity, but it's not saving the day because it's usually a small bit. It contributes, but it's a small bit. So we're asking ourselves, how can we increase these tariffs, and why are they so low? First of all, because the demand in a sanitation service evolves slowly. And very often we put infrastructure in place which is much bigger than the demand. So a lot of wastewater treatment and sludge treatment plants, they don't work up to their full capacity, which is of course a problem for the cost recovery. On the other side, there's a lack of willingness to charge cost-reflective tariffs. And we may want to think about how to, in some areas, how to raise tariffs or how to increase taxes that go to sanitation. But we want to do that in a way that is fair and sustainable. So who pays the cost for it? When we look at along the sanitation service chain, for the different types of life cycle costs that we mentioned, the initial investment, the day-to-day cost, the intermittent maintenance, and the rehabilitation, of course, the owners of the property will cover the cost of the user interface and the containment if it's needed, and maybe with something like the SATO or any other technology. But then the cost of emptying or conveyance, it can be covered from tariffs in a multitude of ways. It could be from users, it would be cross-subsidized to make it affordable for different areas of the city, or it could come from the regular local government budget. The initial investment for networked sanitation, so for the sewer lines and then the treatment and use, so the big capital cost, generally comes from transfers and national tax sources. But for non-network sources, the trucks are coming from the private sector and are paid back indirectly by the users through their payment for services. The treatment plant also comes from taxes or transfers. There are cases where there is subsidy for initial investment at the user level, and the operation and maintenance of treatment plants, we very rarely see that paid by tariffs. Very often it comes from the local government regular budget because there's no clear business model bundling all of it. Or it comes from sanitation tax. Replacement cost, I think in our sector, most of the cities don't have any provision for that. We expect our children to pay for that, right? So who pays those taxes that are paying for people's sanitation? It is not always fair, because some cases, if you have property tax, of course, all homeowners pay for the tax. Or if you have water tariff surcharge, it's all those connected to water supply, which are not necessarily the same people. Or maybe it's all people living in the area based on their residence somehow. Or maybe it's based on VAT or income tax. So not always the same people are paying the tax are actually benefiting from the infrastructure that is funded with that tax. What we see across the world when we talked about this in our different countries is that large cities get prioritized for big loans which are repaid with tax money of the whole country. And the question is sometimes whether that's the best use. Oh, this is an old presentation. Whether this is the best use of our public funding. Are we maybe over-subsidizing some parts of the population, using taxpayer money from everybody to subsidize the richest people? I want to give you an example of how here in Bangladesh, Oneida, and also Kustia Municipality are generating sanitation tax in order directly from the property owners in order to develop the fund to replace or to extend the treatment facility. So that tax is paid onto the property, the main property tax, whereas the emptying services are paid directly to the private service provider. And the private service provider also pays to the municipality a percentage of the emptying fee in order to pay for the lease of for the use of the treatment facility. So you're asking me, where does the money, where do the loans or private sector contributions sit? And I see very often that people think this is extra money in this equation. But really, it's not extra money. That's just earlier money. Private sector capital investment in, for example, a treatment plant will need to be recovered ultimately. There is an expectation that they're getting this back, plus interest. So it's not extra, it's just earlier. And that is, of course, very much needed if we want to make faster progress. But we still need to see sustained revenue streams in order to cover those investments. So there's multiple ways of engaging private sector in the sanitation sector. And I think it's very important to make explicit what we are talking about. We've seen these consumer supply chain work, which is a different way of engaging private sector. We've seen also engagement in management of the service, and we've seen also investments. There are all these different ways of looking at private sector engagement, have different aspects in terms of asset ownership, who does the capital investment, who takes the commercial risk if people don't want to pay, who is responsible for operation and maintenance, and what is the typical contract duration. What we're seeing in the sanitation sector right now is that there's some incipient outsourcing and management contracts, so in this space. Those are shorter contracts, and it's mainly aimed at professionalizing the service. But those are not really going to bring in money for capital investment. That would only happen if there is longer-term longer-term engagement, right? So that the people who are investing here also have the time to recover their investment. Now we think, oh, we're going to bring in private sector because they have money. But very often it's not the private sector that actually has the money. The money, again, comes from other parts. It may come through loans, commercial or soft loans. It may come from bonds made to investors. It may come from equity, where external parties become a direct shareholder. And we had, in the sanitation sector, a lot of expectations that it may come from carbon financing. We still have the expectations, but at this moment, it's hard to monetize that. So don't count yourself rich yet. I know that the University of Leeds and UTS are working very hard on it, but there's still a lot to work on. Now here, I'm talking about the private sector financing to come in, and we see also in Bangladesh, for example, there's financing at the microfinance level, and there's financing for the very large infrastructure projects. But our cities, most of them are a bit in the middle. They need financing which is not attractive for the bigger funders, but microfinance is way too expensive and way too short-term and way too small for them. So we really want to see more financing solutions work for that middle part of the private sector. And that maybe could look like this. So you could have an investment in infrastructure and a service which brings in 25% of grants. Maybe, let's say that it's from some of the global funds, or maybe from some of the donors, or maybe from the government. That there's 40% of loan, so that engages some kind of bank, and that there's 35% of equity, meaning that private sector themselves would bring in money and they have external equity investors that would come in. So you have multiple stakeholders that you need to bring together the finances to be able to put it on the table and actually invest in those cities. Now, none of these stakeholders will engage if there's no trust in the revenue stream. Or said more positively, they will only engage if there's trust in a stable revenue stream from that service. Yeah? So, for example, for Bangladesh, I would love to see municipal bonds working. Wouldn't it be great if the people, richer people in Bangladesh could buy bonds that would then be used to invest in sanitation infrastructure? There's even an entity here in Bangladesh who certifies, a commission who certifies bonds, but there's not yet sufficient trust in the system. So our work, all of us here, and many of you who are in government and who are in private sector and in NGOs and academia, our work is really to create the conditions that a sustainable revenue stream from sanitation is, is coming. So let me very quickly say, this is an example from Tanzania. It's also private sector engagement, but also an outsourcing contract, specifically outsourcing the services to low-income areas. And my main takeaways, maybe I've already given you away, that blended finance is not saving the day without a clear revenue stream. That yes, the CapEx is really hard to find, but we need to sustain the financing for O&M. That public resources are part of the equation, but we need to think for what, for where, and for whom, and what's fair and sustainable. And that we all need to work much harder to set up viable, good quality service and business models. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antoinette. Not extra, but early. That's really interesting, I would say, in your presentation. And also, a need for clear, sustainable revenue streams is the question of the day, I would say. From my years of experience with working with a development partner, I have seen, as a private sector focal, I have seen the private sector may not be much interested in the system strengthening, but the revenue stream is much of their concern. And without a joint collaboration between the government and the development partners, it's very difficult to actually ensure the system strengthening. Also, to bring in the innovative solutions, just as SATO presentation we have seen so far. Having said that, we also have our chair, Mr. A.K.M. Tariquel, who is also the MD of BMDF, Bangladesh Municipal Development Fund. Before handing over to the chair, I would like to open the floor. Whoever has a question, getting deeper into, taking a deeper dive into the financing for sanitation, safe management for sanitation, and all relevant questions, please raise your hand and grab the mic. Do not forget to mention about your introduction, who you are, which organization you are working for, and then please pose your question. Who would you like to ask?
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. This is MD Shamsul Alam, Executive Engineer, working with Tariquel Municipality. So just I want to know something. One side you are telling that sanitation is our need, sanitation is the citizen need and rights, one side. So this is the needs and rights of the citizen. And another side you are talking about the business. If the businessman come to do with the sanitation services, he will maximize his business while he will provide services, while he will taking care of the rights and needs of the citizen. How these issues, even in the presentation, we have not seen that the health benefit, that the environmental benefit, that the social benefit, it has not been transformed into monetary. So we are making just an equation, leaving such types of intervention out of the equation. How this problem can be solved? This is my question. Why this private sector will come up with some such types of barriers?
All right. You are very right. And this presentation is incomplete because what is really missing from this presentation is regulation, the whole regulatory side. Of course, if you give the work to somebody, if you're outsourcing the work to somebody, you need to make a very good agreement. What is the performance? What is the results that you want to see? For how long are you giving the contract? And what will happen if they don't deliver what you're expecting? So sanitation is a human right. Government is the duty bearer, and they need to keep an eye. They need to keep oversight to see that everybody gets the service. It doesn't mean they need to do it all themselves. Sometimes it's more efficient and more effective to have somebody else do the operational work, like the private sector. But you do need to have the regulation and the oversight. And in Bangladesh, there is no regulatory body for sanitation services as such. So all the regulation of these contracts now is it's all going by contract. So each local municipality has the oversight of each provider. And that's certainly an area where a lot of improvement could be made.
Thank you, Antoinette. Who would be the next? Can you please pass the mic? Thank you.
Good evening, good afternoon. I'm Tazeen from Practical Action, Bangladesh. I have two questions. One is about the SATO PAN. I'd be interested to know whether you have done some research or survey to assess the, what is the satisfaction level of the users. So that would be really interesting to know. And another question I have about the private sector engagement. So we are doing some work with private sectors, but in Bangladesh we sometimes struggle to engage them in this type of wash business. So how to actually create that enabling environment so that we can also encourage different private sector to invest and to come and join this type of business in future. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think I want to
Anandita, over to
answer
you.
both and then please add on. But so for SATO PAN, I think Bangladesh is the best example for that. We've been here for 11 years and it is the largest in the rural area. It is the largest. So when we come to survey, just going into the heart of it in like areas like Cox's Bazar, you can see every household has it, and our supply and our reach is an example, I think, of what you're saying, of just the satisfaction level. We've formally has been done in India. I can bring that up, but in Bangladesh we are, I think, just the country on the acceptance level and the number of people that are like just villages which only use a SATO PAN, I think, is an example of that. So we don't really need a research. Just from my knowledge of, I think the biggest incentive is, and I really, really appreciate what you said, is that we don't want this to be a revenue stream. We're not saying that this is going to make us profit. But if there is no skin in the game for the people who we are working for, if I give you something free, you're not going to appreciate it. If there's no skin in the game, I think that's how the private sector will get engaged. If they feel that the people who we are working with, I'm not saying helping, I'm not saying the people we are working with, the end customer, if they are working with us, if they actually believe in what we're doing, then you will get the engagement. We don't, there are lots of companies which are doing social business. It's just not, it's not extra, it's early. I think that's something I want to take away with me for sure. But the idea is that if the people we are engaging with, if they have a skin in the game, definitely there'll be more private sector engagement. I'm sorry, that's just coming from my point of view.
Antoinette, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think that we need to realize, all of us, that nobody has the money to give toilets for free to the whole of the country. Nobody has the money to put in the infrastructure and sustain the infrastructure for free in the whole of the country. Yeah? So it needs to generate money, but the amount of money it needs to generate needs to be sufficient for it to be sustainable, but it also needs to be fair to the people. Some people have more capacity of payment, others have less, and that's how you can manage it. But now for the private sector, you struggle to engage them because they don't see a sustainable revenue stream. Yeah? Would you yourself put money into, let's say, a municipal bond for your city that builds a treatment plant? If in many countries this is really a good investment and you will get money back with interest. So if we make that whole environment stable and we create security of revenues, they don't need to be big, they need to be fair, but if we can create security of revenues, then that engagement will come.
Thank you, Antoinette. We have taken questions from the front. We have a huge audience. Can we also have some questions from the back of the room? I'll take from the front. This is the third question, but please be ready from the back of the room as well. Please, sir.
This is Ahmed Jaman Tariq from BMDev. I think sanitation is right, I know, but it should not be free of cost because it should be financially managed, it should be sustainable. When sustainable is consideration, we should consider the private investor to be engaged here. Private investor will make profit. Nothing is free here. Even the basic needs, clothes, shelter, water, everything we should pay for this, for shelter, for food, for cloth, we have to pay. So why sanitation will be free? This is my opinion here.
Thank you, sir. Can we have a question from the back of the room?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Shirajul Salikin. I work with Practical Action in Bangladesh. My question is, actually my concern, that if we look into our national adaptation plan, which says that it requires about $230 billion US dollar in between 2023 to 2050. So clearly we need some innovative financial mechanism, and throughout the day we are talking about climate resilient or climate adaptive financing mechanisms. But I haven't seen anyone from financial sector, or maybe from Bangladesh Bank or any commercial bank. So clearly, I think we need to identify, or we need to consider how we can introduce some innovative financing mechanism to cover this gap. And another thing could be that we need to also explore the opportunities, like where municipalities, local governments, and other stakeholders can collaboratively work together. So who will take the lead? So if these things work well, and I believe that will, hello? Okay. So I believe we'll be able to achieve our targets. So that's all. I'm not extending much time.
Thank you for the comment. Would you like to respond to the comment? Yeah. Sir, over to you, please.
This is not response, but I want to say something about the real situation in Bangladesh. Yesterday, one of my well-wishers said to me that it needs only $400 million to cover for the one upazila for their water sector and sanitation. Is it possible for the Bangladesh government? So we try to do in the another way. Your brilliant person is here. Try to understand and search for the proper way to solve this problem. So in Bangladesh, many upazilas is here. Bangladesh government sometimes keeps some toilets, especially pit type toilet, free of cost, or keep some cost-effective toilet system to the citizens. But it's not sufficient. We have lack of waters. And the dry season is coming, so we understand every dry season we faced the especially public health engineering department or WASA or municipalities or every citizen who use toilet, tube well, like it is shallow or deep tube well. Every year it decreases 10 to 12 feet every year. So we need the regeneration every year. It needs, it's not cost effective. But our many NGOs, INGOs here, they are working for the sanitation and water sector. And I am from the local government division, and BMDF. BMDF already start some finance for many municipalities, city corporation, and we are going to work with water organization SNV in very near future. So I think solution is not in our hand. It needs our development in the industrial sector. We need to earn more money for the citizens. So, hope for the best in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have another question? From the audience? Yes, sure, please go ahead. About innovative financing, we would like to hear a bit more from Antoinette.
Yeah.
Hello. Excuse me. Yes.
So.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm Sarwar from A.K.M. I'm representing private sector, but my existence is very tiny. I sell toilet commercially, biofuel toilet. I don't have specific question, but I have just taken the opportunity to share my experience very briefly. First of all, I would like to say I'm a little bit confused about the private sector definition. Earlier, I had the experience of working in NGOs. Okay, I said it's echoing, it's a part of the game. Okay, I'm not sure whether NGOs are also considered as private sector. It has to be very much clear. From Anthony's presentation, I have that idea that NGOs are also considered as private sector. Secondly, what I would like to mention that effective policy implication is very much needed for entity like us. Let's say if there is no effective policy implication, if we are allowed to link our sewerage line to the storm drainage and there is no penalty, why I should go for the sewerage line? What is the reality in most of the part of the urban areas in Bangladesh? If I am allowed to dislodge my pit to the nearby pond, lake, river, and there is no penalty, then why I should look for hygienic toilet? I can just, it can just go on. So if the effectiveness of policy is there, the market will be created. This is one thing. Another thing is that for entrepreneur, some support is needed from bank, from government as well. There is a provision in bank to provide loan on the work order. There is a provision, but practically, I can tell very confidently, it's not practically available. They ask for collateral, this and that. So for the entrepreneur, it's not at all possible to get that source of support from the bank, although it is available. And as a whole, the things become very much difficult for entrepreneur like us. Other than RFL, I am not aware about any big entities who are involved in private sector for sanitation work. So these are the observation and practical experience, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share this. Thank you all.
Thank you. I think Antoinette had some points to add to the innovative financing. Would you like to go ahead with that?
Yeah. I can also say something about the comments of the gentleman. First, on the innovative financing mechanisms and climate change, there's many innovative financing mechanisms, of course, and I was thinking, are we going to talk about that? There was a publication, I think it was in 2023, from OECD that said that as a water sector, we've invested a lot in developing innovative financing mechanisms, but not sufficiently in the foundations to make those mechanisms work. Because you can be as innovative as you want in organizing the equity and the loans and everything, but if there's no revenues coming from the business, or there's no security to invest, then nobody's coming to the table. I do agree with the gentleman that has just said that the waste sector in general is a tricky problem because general population generally doesn't care about waste and pollution until there's a big scandal. So if people can connect their toilet directly to the drains, they will do so, and they think this is not my problem. So for private sector also to function and for a real demand to be there, you do need regulation and enforcement on at the user level and also at the service provider level. In terms of the entrepreneurs and the support needed because you need collateral, this is indeed where the innovative finance mechanisms could come in with different kinds of soft loans, but also equity investors who start to have a share in your business, for example.
Thank you, Antoine. One last question from the audience. I see one lady raising hand.
Hi, this is Sonia from Athena Infonomics. My question is for BMDF. Usually, even when there is financing required, it's seen that when Poroshobhas are asked to implement and work with private organizations in sanitation, they don't have enough staff. The number of employees is so low that the capacity they need to actually implement the program, it becomes very stressful. There is no sanitary inspector, or very key positions are empty, which is a huge challenge as well. And many times a reason why financing also doesn't get properly utilized. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Sir, before handing over to our Honorable Chair, I would also like to add here on the financing, then I would hand it over, and sir, then you can wrap up and conclude after responding to the question. So looking at the financing ecosystem in Bangladesh, there are certain provisions in the central bank as well, but the problem is there is not much awareness among the financing institutions how to continue or how to conduct the due diligence process. So there is a huge capacity gap among the provision and how to implement them on ground. So that capacity need also adds up to the problems in the ecosystem. At the same time, we have already found out from our keynote presenters that there are technology, there are private sector, but may not be as a whole, the ecosystem is not functioning as a full-fledged rolling ecosystem. Why? Because of lack of coordination. At some places there are regulation but not implementation, and so on. So with that, I hand it over to our Honorable Chair. Sir, you can respond to the question raised by Ms. Samia, and then you can wrap up and finally conclude the session. Thank you.
I'm going to say something. Yes. I have something in my note. First it says this one. There is many NGOs like SNB, WaterAid, UNICEF BD, PAB, WSAP, and ITN Buet. They are working for the international NGOs. I said before that BMDF signed with SNB in the last November 2023 for finance, water and sanitation sector for the 12 city corporation and municipalities. Among them, BMDF now prepare for finance in the Sylhet city corporation. BMDF already made them last November, and Sylhet City Corporation going to send a letter for financing by the BMDF. And we have going to sign the MOU, maybe it's 27 February 2025, for the water sector and sanitation sector from their technical support. BMDF always hope for the future. First, I say about municipalities or city corporation, the taxes system. Say one household rent for 10,000 taka. So, for the year, it 1,20,000. 20,000 for their maintenance, and for the 10 months, 1 lakh taka. From here, taxes will be or shall be, by the law, 27%. That means 27,000 taka. But no one give it to the municipality or city corporation. I think it's not a good law. It will be 10% highest, and that will be the collectible, or 7% like this. We have a local government reform commission in Bangladesh. Dr. Topal Ahmed sir is the chair, and there is 9% of the bodies here. I am the focal person of that committee. They try to do better for the local government division. The reforms, all the laws, is going to be. Maybe it will be better. And for the waste management system in the municipality, it's not very, it's a very good work, but very busy for the persons, also for the municipals. We try to develop the collect of wastage and the taxes of the municipalities is like this: for the lighting, collect wastage, giving water, and cleaning. But now we have many works here. The sanitation is included, but now it's costly, very costly. The wastewater, we are not going to do for this wastewater or slash water. So Bangladesh government tried to develop this system. I was in the municipality of Cox's Bazar. There is ADB granted here $5 billion for the slash management. But it's going on. This is piloting. If it is completed, then it will be very helpful for the Bangladeshi technical person, because it's new system for Bangladesh. In Dhaka city area, same things. In Gazipur, Narayanganj, same things. So every work is cost effective. So, but our wages not increases now. And how can the people give the more money One of here says the public-private partnership. Yes, it's possible in Bangladesh because Bangladesh government have one secretaries of public-private partnership. If someone public, someone people invest here or loan here, and agreement with government, they can invest in every sector. It's possible because we take loan from World Bank and other organizations. And if some people, the rich people, give loan to the Bangladesh, it's same thing. So, if the rate of interest is like World Bank or other donor organization, it's better. So, we find the correct way to resolve our problem. Sometimes we can say nothing in the public places. So we need indoor meeting, close relation with the donors, with the INGOs, with the NGOs also. So we are always doing this and doing better than the past. Our per capita income slowly increases now. We need good or better policy for our social development. The water sector and sanitation sector said that it's very nice work for the people. So there is no time to say anything. So thank you all. And thanks the moderator and the speakers. If the gentlemen come here, the ladies are coming here. We are very happy to say to us, question to us something. And if you call me anytime, I try to respond you all. I have a mobile telephone number, cell number. If you need, I said here. 01713 01713 011 315. Because someone here, he forget the questions. It's in his mind. Please phone me and share with me. Then we can solve the problem. Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening.
What an inspiring discussion. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to the moderator, Ms. Ishrat Shabnam, our chair of this plenary session, A.K.M. Tariquel, our keynote speakers, Ms. Antoinette Kome, Ms. Anandita Kakkar for sharing their expertise and wisdom on sanitation financing and private sector engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for being with us. Now we are taking break for tea served beside Winter Garden and the corridor in front of Premium Lounge at ground floor. After this tea break, we'd like you to invite to our gala dinner from 6:30 p.m. at Ruposhi Bangla Grand Ballroom. We'd like you to join us, and then we hope the day will ended up with dinner with us. Thank you so much for joining us. See you tomorrow. Thank you.